الله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد. Ibn al-Qayyim once stated the following poem. He was a man of knowledge. And he says, وَكَذَلِكَ الْوَهَّابُ مِنْ أَسْمَائِهِ فانظر مواهبه مدى الأزمان أهل السماوات العلا والأرض عن تلك المواهب ليس ينفكان. Likewise, one of Allah's name is a bestower. See the gifts He bestowed over time. The people of the heaven and the people of the earth cannot deny His favors, for these gifts do not lack sight. Brothers and sisters, today I will be talking about the power of Allah, His greatness, His limitless bounties, and His mercy. Allah talks about Himself all the time in the Quran, and the Prophet ﷺ talks about His mercy in His hadiths. You think, why ponder upon these subjects if we already know enough? For Allah created us, He provides for us, He helps us, and to Him we all return. But the truth is, brothers, there isn't enough. And we know so little of Allah that if we were to sum up all of our knowledge that we thought we knew about Him, there would be a numerous amount of questions that remain unanswered. So let's take the time and reflect and remind ourselves. Allah's bounties, how far do they stretch? Look at the things that we take for granted every day. أَلَمْ نَجْعَلْ لَهُ عَيْنَيْنِ وَلِسَانًا وَشَفَتَيْنِ. Go when you wake up tomorrow, put a blindfold on your eyes, put tape on your mouth and stuff your ears, and then tie your hands and your legs, and you cannot do anything, you'll starve and you'll ache. But that is what it's like without having these bounties from Allah. There is no Allah hasn't given me much, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already decreed what provision and wealth we have in this life. No matter if we run all day seeking salary, for at the end of the day, nothing will change. We will have no more than what Allah has decreed for us to have. And now look at Allah's sky. He adorned it, fashioned it, and shielded it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, الَّذِي خَلَقَ سَبْعَ سَمَاوَاتٍ طِبَاقًا مَا تَرَى فِي خَلْقِ الرَّحْمَنِ مِن تَفَاوُتٍ فَارْجِعِ الْبَصَرَ هَلْ تَرَى مِن فُطُورٍ. And who created 7 heavens in layers? You do not see in the creation of Allah, in the creation of the Most Merciful, any inconsistency. So return your vision to the sky. Do you see any breaks? Do you see any faults? Any rifts? That is because He Azza wa Jal has perfected our sky and is nothing for Him but a wonder for us. And the ni'mah of the sky and the stars are great. فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِمَوَاقِعِ النُّجُومِ وإنه لقسم لو تعلمون عظيم. So I swear by the stars, Allah says, and it is indeed a swear if you knew its greatness. So can we deny that favor, and can we deny any of His favors? For He has prepared for us, which we cannot imagine except by His permission. وَجَعَلْنَا فِيهَا جَنَّاتٍ مِّن نَخِيلٍ وَأَعْنَابٍ وَفَجَّرْنَا فِيهَا مِنَ الْعُيُونِ لِيَأْكُلُوا مِن ثَمَرِهِ وَمَا عَمِلَتْهُ أَيْدِيهِمْ أَفَلَا يَشْكُرُونَ. And we have made therein gardens of date palms and grapevines, and we cause springs to flow forth in it, that they may eat of its fruit. And of what their hands have produced, will they not be then grateful? يا عبادي لا خوف عليكم اليوم ولا أنتم تحزنون. O my servants, no fear will be concerning you this day, nor will you grieve. And that's a grace from your Lord upon that day, a day when children's hair will turn gray, and the perfected skies to split, land and skies to contradict. Brothers and sisters, Allah is so powerful that reality as we know it will disappear at His will. But because of His mercy and His grace, He's allowed us to experience what He has created for His creation. When the Sahaba used to hear the name of Allah, their hearts would tremble and they would weep. And Allah talks about these people in the Quran. He says, those whose hearts tremble in the remembrance of their Lord, verily, the remembrance of Allah trembles hearts. And those who side themselves with Allah have nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. It's amazing how Allah deals with things, but we reject His power, maybe not directly, but maybe indirectly. Believing everything comes from logic, faith, and science. Or have we forgotten that dua is not tied to faith? So if others wish us harm, but Allah has other plans, then no one but Allah will harm you. And if no one wants to harm you, but Allah sufficient wants to harm you, then it is indeed inevitable. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ghani, meaning free of need. And our actions combined doesn't benefit nor harm Him, it only affects us. Sadaqah doesn't harm us. It doesn't take away the wealth we have. It doesn't take away the wealth or provisions that we have or that He gave us. It indeed saves us from the greed and savage creatures we are without guidance. Allah doesn't need the money we give. He is that great. What He forbids for us protects us, and what He encourages for us influences us. Because He is Ghani and Aziz. And there is a hadith Qudsi in which whenever a scholar read it, he would fall to his knees and weep. Ya ibadi, O my servants, you cannot harm me as to harm me, and you cannot benefit me as to benefit me. O my servants, if the first of you and the last of you, mankind of you, the jinn amongst you, had the hearts of the most pious amongst you, it would not decrease my kingdom in any way. He says, O my servants, if the first of you and the last of you, mankind of you and the jinn amongst you, had the hearts of the worst amongst you, it would not decrease my kingdom in any way. He adds, O my servants, if the first of you and the last of you, and mankind and the jinn amongst you, had climbed onto one surface and asked of me, and I were to give every single person what they asked for, it would not decrease anything of what I have, like how a needle dropped into the sea would not decrease it. And this hadith was narrated by Muslim. And if the scholar fell to his knees weeping, what effect can it have on us? Because the truth is, after everything happens, after every sinner is punished, after every worshipper is rewarded, Allah remains Allah, unchanged and still glorified. He doesn't need us, yet we rely on Him so much that we cannot realize it. Even after all this power, even after Allah describes to us that we should fear Him, He still is passionate towards us. For example, you see a beast. If you are sane enough and you have logic, you would run away from it. But even though we fear Allah, Allah states that you should run towards Him. فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ. So run towards Allah. But how do you run towards the unseen? Which direction? Is it physically or mentally? Allah describes in later verses that we should run to Him by the remembrance of Allah. فَاسْعَوْا إِلَىٰ ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. Hasten to the remembrance of Allah. But it's not because He needs it. So fear Him because it is for our own good. And Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu would constantly remind people of the truth, both in person and on the sermon, and from his sermons. But he kept his speeches brief, so as not to bore the audiences, yet he managed to provide people with important reminders, a wealth of beneficial information and food for thought. Once he radiallahu anhu said, there are 5 dark matters and 5 lamps to illuminate them, to counteract them. And one of them is love of this world is darkness. Loving this world is darkness. And at-taqwa, piety, righteousness, fear of Allah is its lamp. Meaning, without the fear of Allah, we would be unguided souls with bodies. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Once during Umar's Khalif period, he was walking about at night, as he would do every night, checking upon his ummah, looking to help his people and stop trouble if he found it. And just outside the city, he spotted a lit fire. He and his slave Aslam hurried to it because they thought it might be travelers in need of shelter. And when they arrived, he found him and his slave Aslam. They found kids crying to sleep and a mother cooking some water on a fire. He radiallahu anhu asked, why are they crying? And the mother replied, they are hungry. And then Umar asked, what's in the pot? The mother whined. She said, it's just a pot of boiling water to soothe the children to sleep, knowing that something is being prepared for them. And then she adds, Allah will judge between me and Umar on the day of judgment. She does not know that this is Umar. Now Umar crying replies, and how is the Khalif supposed to know of your whereabouts? And then she replies, he is the Khalif. He should be aware of his people that Allah has entrusted him with. And so Umar and Aslam hurried back to the city, the inner city, and went to the house of provision. He took a sack and he put it on his back. And then Aslam insisted, he said, let me put it on my back, let me carry it for you. And then Umar replied, if you carry my sack in this world, who will carry my burdens on the day of judgment? من عمل صالحا فلنفسه ومن أساء فعليها وما ربك بظلام للعبيد. Whoever does good, it is only for the self. And whoever sins, it is against himself, and your Lord does not want to wrong his servants. Aslam had no words for him, so they carried on. They reached the mother, and Umar himself started cooking the rice for the woman. He distributed it amongst the children. And then the woman remarked to Umar by saying, "May Allah reward you for your kindness. In fact, you should be Khalif instead of Umar." And then Umar consoled her. He said, "When you come to see the Khalif, you will see me there." But the point is, it is only a haqq for us that we fear of Allah, that we fear Allah. It is only because he feared Allah that he went to go take those actions. With religion comes taqwa, and if we do not have any fear or love for Allah, then alas, in this world we already lost. Once we begin to think that Allah's mercy will save you from the sins, you've already lost. The day of judgment is literally the day of judgment, a day when Allah's anger could be at its peak. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Nabbi' ibadi anni ana al-ghafur ar-rahim wa anna 'adhabi huwa al-'adhab al-alim." Inform my servants that I am the forgiving, the merciful, and that my punishment is the worst punishment. It is not too bad to rely on Allah's mercy entirely, but His mercy cannot and should not be an excuse for us to wrong ourselves. In fact, on the day of judgment, Allah will bring two slaves from hell to Himself, from Jahannam to Himself. And Allah will direct both of them to return back to the fire. One will run back to the fire, and the other one will stand there waiting. Allah will bring the one who ran to the fire, and he said, "Why have you run to the fire?" And he will reply, "O Allah, I disobeyed you in dunya, and I do not want to disobey you now." Then He subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask the one who stood and ask, "Why have you stood there?" And he will reply, "O Allah, I am waiting for your mercy. I am waiting for your mercy." And Allah will tell him, "Take your brother's hand and enter my paradise." Yes, Allah's mercy is great, but strengthen your belief in His mercy with taqwa and you will succeed. Whoever is about to commit sin but leaves it because of the fear of Allah is in fact rewarded. Brothers, it is time for us to taste the sweetness of Iman. It is time for us to find our happiness with Allah. And we must realize that our religion is our honor, and our Iman is a reason for our happiness. يا شاكيا هم الحياة وضيقها أبشر فربك قد أبان المنهجا من يتق الرحمن جل جلاله يجعله من كل ضيق مخرجا يجعله من كل ضيق مخرجا. O you who complain about the troubles of this life, rejoice, for your Lord has made His manhaj clear. Whoever fears Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, He will make for him in ever hardship easement. Bilal ibn Rabah, he had nothing in this dunya. He didn't possess anything from this world. He was a slave, and he didn't even own his own soul. But he accepted Islam. He attended the secret gatherings, and his masters found out. They said, "A slave who has nothing has accepted Islam." And so they unclothed him, and they took him to the outskirts of the city, and they forced him to renounce his religion. And all he replied was, "Ahadun ahad." And they would still torment him until Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu came to buy him, and so that he would free him. And Bilal radiallahu anhu became one of the most dearest to the Prophet. And because of his fear of Allah, Allah made his life easier and granted him happiness. The companions asked, Bilal radiallahu anhu, you were hit, you were flogged, you were burned, you were tormented. How were you so patient? And he replied, I mixed the bitterness of the torments and the beauty of Iman, and found the beauty of Iman to overcome the soreness of the torment. And so we need to taste the sweetness and this beauty of Iman. Many of the youngsters today, undeniably, we drive amazing cars, compete to wear the most expensive clothes, hang out with friends, attend parties by midnight, fill our lives with sins and lust, and at the end of the day, we still say, I am bored out of my mind. And then every single time on the news we hear that a young individual's life has ended, that either he killed himself or that he has been killed. Now if he has been killed, then he caused it for himself by choosing the wrong friends or choosing the wrong path. And if they killed themselves, did they lack anything from this dunya? They had the best watches, expensive belts, parties every day. Did they lack anything? They lacked a connection with their Lord. And whoever lacks a connection with their Lord has gone astray. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكًا. And whoever turns from my remembrance, indeed he will have a depressed life. وَنَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَعْمَى. And we will gather him on the day of resurrection blind. قَالَ رَبِّ لِمَ حَشَرْتَنِي أَعْمَى. He will say, my Lord, why have you raised me blind? قَالَ رَبِّ لِمَ حَشَرْتَنِي أَعْمَى وَقَدْ كُنْتُ بَصِيرًا. Why have you raised me blind while I was once seeing? قال كذلك أتتك آياتنا فنسيتها وكذلك اليوم تنسى. Allah will say, thus did our signs come to you, and you forgot them, and thus will you on this day, you will be forgotten. But how did they turn away? They ignore. They procrastinate. I'll do that tomorrow. I'll fast next Ramadan. Pray Isha and Maghrib together. They procrastinate. Bilal ibn Rabah hadn't a single possession in this world. He hadn't a dirham or riyal. But because he mixed the sweetness of faith and the bitterness of torments, his iman overcame. And the Prophet ﷺ said, there are three qualities to the sweetness of faith. Loving Allah and His Messenger more than anything else. Loving someone for the sake of Allah only. And one who hates to revert to disbelief or their sins after guidance. Because you were like that before, then Allah conferred His favor upon you.